Not long ago, a combat aircraft belonging to the Ukrainian Air Force suffered the unfortunate fate of being the victim of an invasion by Russian troops. A Su-27 fighter piloted by Captain Denis Kirilyuk exploded and caught fire in the conflict area of Donetsk. The plane exploded after colliding with the Shahed-136 Kamikaze drone. Volodymyr Zelensky's troops suffered heavy losses, because apart from destroying the plane, the pilot also became a victim. This is the second UCAV, Unmanned Combat Aerial Vehicle, or Unmanned Aerial Combat Vehicle made in Iran that has hit a fighter jet belonging to the Ukrainian Air Force. In October 2022, a Ukrainian MiG-29 fighter jet also fell victim to this suicide drone attack. Army recognition said the Shahed-136 drone was made by Hesa located in Shahin-Shar, Isfahan, to carry out ground attacks. The airborne munition is 3.5 meters, 11 feet, long with a wingspan of 2.5 meters, 8.2 feet. The drone flew at over 185 kilometers per hour, 115 miles per hour, and weighed about 200 kilograms, 440 pounds, including the bomb on its front. The nose of the Shahed-136 contains a high explosive fragmentation warhead estimated to weigh 30 to 50 kilograms as well as precision strike optics. This drone has a simple inertial navigation system with a GPS system to reach its target. The Shahed-136 is driven by a 50-horsepower Mado MD-550 piston engine, which is an Iranian copy of the German Limbach L550E engine. The engine was located at the rear of the fuselage and powered a two-bladed propeller which served as propulsion. While the cruising range is estimated to range from 970 to 1,500 kilometers, 600 to 930 miles, to as far as 2,000 to 2,500 kilometers, 1,200 to 1,600 miles. Equipped with a camera, this weapon is also capable of attacking with high precision. Russia likes using these drones because apart from being deadly, they are also relatively cheap, which is around 20,000 United States dollars or around 300 million Indonesian rupiahs per unit. Vladimir Putin will benefit if one unit of this Shahed-136 can destroy cheap tanks that cost hundreds of times more. Zelensky's troops also suffered heavy losses due to drone attacks that could be carried out in large numbers simultaneously. At first, the Shiite country avoided sending these drones to Russia to fight against Ukraine, but in the end they admitted that the weapons were made by them. Russia did reassemble this drone and changed the name Shahed-136 to Jaran-2 as if it was made in the country of the Red Bear, but this was slowly discovered. Iran produces UCAV Shahed-136 in large numbers which are then secretly delivered to its belligerent ally. The Wall Street Journal reported that Russia began using the Shahed-136 drone for counterattacks in the Kharkiv region, attacking Ukrainian artillery and tank positions. This drone was also launched in the attack that destroyed the administration building in Odessa on September 25, 2022. It is not surprising that hundreds of Ukrainian combat vehicles were destroyed by Shahed-136. Airspace Review reports that until now, hundreds of Shahed-136 units have been used to destroy opponents. In January 2023 alone, the Russian military was reported to have used around 660 Iranian-made Kamikaze Shahed-136 drones out of 1,750 units provided under contract with Iran. Former Russian communications officer reveals President Vladimir Putin's secret. Never use the internet. A former communications officer for Russian President Vladimir Putin, Gleb Karakulov, said he fled Russia because of the war in Ukraine. Gleb Karakulov revealed details about President Vladimir Putin in an interview with the investigative website Dossier Center released on Tuesday. In the interview, Gleb Karakulov discusses his work in Russia, his escape, and his personal experiences working with President Vladimir Putin. Gleb Karakulov is a former engineer in the Presidential Communications Unit, the Federal Guard Service, FSO, and has accompanied President Vladimir Putin on more than 180 trips over the past 13 years. This unit is tasked with ensuring President Vladimir Putin and his Prime Minister are provided with encrypted communications 24/7. This is because the President of Russia does not personally operate smartphones or other services. Gleb Karakulov flees from Russia. Gleb Karakulov told the Dossier Center that he managed to escape with his family to Turkey while accompanying President Vladimir Putin on a visit to Kazakhstan for a summit in mid-October 2022. "It would be an even greater crime if I kept working," said Gleb Karakulov, who knows his defection violated Russian law. "I consider this man, Vladimir Putin, a war criminal," Gleb Karakulov told the Dossier Center, which is funded by exiled former tycoon Mikhail Khodorkovsky. Gleb Karakulov is the highest-ranking member of the Russian special services known to have defected in modern Russian history, the Moscow Times reports. Revealing experience with President Vladimir Putin during the hour-long interview, Gleb Karakulov shared details about President Vladimir Putin's habits, family and health. Gleb Karakulov said President Vladimir Putin still doesn't use smartphones or the internet. The Russian president demands that Russian state-run television be made available on his trips abroad. He added that President Vladimir Putin remains paranoid about being infected with COVID-19 3 years after the pandemic. He forced every employee to quarantine for 2 weeks before they could be in the same room with him. He has been living in an information cocoon for the past few years, Gleb Karakulov told the Dossier Center. He is pathologically afraid for his life. Denies health issues. President Vladimir Putin. According to Gleb Karakulov, President Vladimir Putin lives with a vacuum of information that he only gets from people he trusts. He has shut himself off from the world by all kinds of barriers, including quarantines, information vacuums. His view of reality has been distorted, he said. When asked about President Vladimir Putin's health, Gleb Karakulov denied speculation that the 70-year-old leader had an undisclosed illness. "His health is better than many people his age," said Gleb Karakulov. President Vladimir Putin's luxury assets. FSO engineers corroborated several past high-profile investigative reports into President Vladimir Putin's personal life and wealth. Gleb Karakulov said President Vladimir Putin's family, which the Russian president has never publicly identified, was an open secret that had been discussed among fellow FSO officials. He recalls that his colleagues said President Vladimir Putin was staying at his residence with his daughter or spouse. Gleb Karakulov said he had confirmed with a colleague the existence of President Vladimir Putin's lavish palace on the Black Sea after it was detailed in a high-profile investigation by jailed Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny's team. He also confirmed reports that President Vladimir Putin has identical offices in several residences. He shared an anecdote, which witnessed the Russian president being in his office in Sochi while a television report said he was holding a meeting at his residence outside Moscow, hundreds of kilometers to the north. The Dossier Center says it recorded an interview with Gleb Karakulov sometime in late 2022. However, this interview was only published on Tuesday, after confirming that Gleb Karakulov and his family had left Turkey and were in a safe location. Gleb Karakulov says his rejection of Russian leadership first came with the annexation of Crimea in 2014. His job is to organize expensive trips for President Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin. This reservation reached a critical juncture the day Russian troops invaded Ukraine on February 24, 2022, then after Putin announced the mobilization of reserves on September 21, 2022.